Welcome back. You're still watching KUTV Primetime News, and we are back with an interesting conversation I teased before the break. Now, according to Investopedia.com, an entrepreneur is an individual who creates a new business, bearing most of the risks and enjoying most of the rewards. The process of setting up a business is known as entrepreneurship. The entrepreneur is commonly seen as an innovator, a source of new ideas, goods, services, and business or procedures. Entrepreneurs play a key role in any economy, using the skills and initiative necessary to anticipate needs and bring in good new ideas to the market. Entrepreneurship that proves to be successful in taking on the risks of creating is rewarded with profits, fame, and continued growth opportunities. Entrepreneurship that fails results in losses and less prevalence in the markets for those involved. Tonight, we're looking at entrepreneurship today, and joining us is Esther Neema, who is the founder and CEO of Dream Tribe Network Africa. Karibu sana, Esther, if you can hear me.
Thank you. I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you quite well.
All right.
I hope I haven't left anything in the introduction as I introduced you.
That is perfect. That's perfect.
All right, let's begin with entrepreneurship. This word that many people have been speaking about. Motivational speakers are out there speaking about entrepreneurship. And many of them, most people have said that entrepreneurship is a big risk. What are some of the risks that people are walking into as they seek to become entrepreneurs?
Well, entrepreneurship, of course, there is an aspect of risk. You're getting into something unknown, usually, especially if you're just from employment or you're just from the university or college. And so you're getting into a space whereby literally you're discovering the ropes. So you have the risks of possible success or possible failure, and you get to carry the entire burden, you as the entrepreneur. You're investing your money, you're investing your time, you're investing your energy and your resources, and this again is for an unpredictable future. The statistics actually a while back was that 90% of people who started their first businesses failed before they now actually succeeded in possibly their third enterprise. But that said, the risk is worth the reward, just as you said. I like that you mentioned fame and money. But yeah, I mean, the reward, if you do succeed, is actually better than the risk. Yeah.
All right. And as we talk about failed businesses, many people are stuck at the risk of gathering money and raising capital to throw into a business. And of course, with the COVID-19, people being laid off from their jobs and many going into the direction of opening businesses. And of course, with that particular risk factor and, people throwing in little capital, maybe not as much as they would expect to find. Would we see closure of businesses in the near future, of more businesses now that we're in the COVID-19 pandemic?
Are you anticipating that most people will fail post the pandemic? Well, I'm looking at the people who are starting business right now, are starting out of necessity. And they always say that necessity is, the mother of invention. And I mean, personally, as an entrepreneurship advocate, I would love that everybody considers entrepreneurship and business and is able to start that. I know there's a school of thought of many people who believe that, a select few can actually be entrepreneurs, but I tend to believe that entrepreneurship is a skill that can be learned. Of course, we are talking about the risks that are involved and the challenges that many people, you would rather be safe than having to hustle your way for 10 years before you figure yourself out. But I believe it is a skill that can be learned. And the people that get out of necessity, from the experiences of their job, they are still able to start businesses and actually be able to succeed and prosper. And so the people who started now have had to learn maybe IT skills to place themselves in the digital space and start their enterprises in that space. Mm-hmm. So I do believe that post the pandemic, the people who started their businesses now are likely to even succeed more than the people who started their businesses a while back, who have had to rethink on ways to restructure their businesses. Say, for example, you've had to ask yourself, how can I survive during this pandemic when my business was actually physical? But a lot of young people who have been starting their enterprises, they've had to thrive in the digital space. And so if you've managed to thrive in this digital space, without a doubt, you will be able to still carry on even post the pandemic, because then you've adapted to new ways of being, like you're in line with the future, you know?
All right.
Yeah, so I'm not anticipating that they will fail, but of course a lot of people drop out of business when they when they realize it's too tough, so they go back, get their CV and go back to work, you know, stuff like that. So you do expect a little bit of that as well. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm glad you're talking about necessity tonight. And we have a bit focused on the necessity, where on the side of the people coming into business. Yet entrepreneurship has also been closely attached to necessity in the terms of the needs of the possible consumers that are in the market at the moment. And Kenya has been accused of, that kind of rail kind of business, where I open an M-Pesa shop here and everybody else opens an M-Pesa shop around. How would you rate our country and our business people in the country in terms of businesses and how they do businesses? Are they solving any problems?
Yeah, well, I think Kenyans are very hardworking. Like, genuinely, we are very hardworking people. Like, you wake up at 5 a.m., you see a lot of Kenyans, we are really, really on it, right? And even when you're looking at the digital space, like M-Pesa, that's an innovation from here, right? And of course, many have gone into IT and coming up with various ideas, but you're right, we copy. Like, you remember how most Kenyans were caught up in the quail eggs, and quail itself, right? So everyone was like wanting to secure quail, everyone wants to buy land, we want to do the same thing. And I like what you said about finding solutions to the challenges that are facing humanity. Like, we do need to get into a space of innovation. Someone was saying Africa or Kenya, we have so many challenges, right? Like, we have so many challenges, and we have brilliant minds. Where are the brilliant minds to think of innovative ideas that they can entrepreneur these problems away, right? And it's not a matter of quitting your job and, going out there and starting your own business. Even when you're in employment, are you innovating solutions? Are you thinking of a new way to do things? One thing that I really find very annoying is that we're always trying to look at how has someone else done, and then we replicate the exact same way. You have to do that, of course, so that you don't fail a lot. Definitely. But what if you say, how was it done and how can we do it better? So you're constantly advancing the conversation and the innovation, So we still have quite a long way to do that, because I know everyone is selling the same thing. So even your friends, you don't know who to buy from because maybe they're all selling the same handbags, things like that. Yeah, so I think we have a long way to go in terms of that. But I believe we are very hardworking, people work hard, but could we innovate our way to eliminating a lot of the challenges that we do have in our society? Yeah.
All right. That said, it reminds me of something we used to say back in the day, that you need to work smart, not just work hard. So maybe on that note, is there a place for training for entrepreneurs? Do business people have to go to some form of school to become better?
Okay. So there are various ways, like, you can get your training from. Like, for example, if you already work in an organization, that usually is some form of apprenticeship, right? So especially if you're working in an organization that is small and you people do most already some form of training. You're talking about getting mentors, someone who's actually already in the field and doing the things that you really, really want to do. So that also is another form of training. And of course, what some of us have had to do, which is by actually going to institutions through scholarships or awards, where we've actually been trained in entrepreneurship. And I can personally say, because I started my first business a while back when I was 26, and I'm not going to say how many years that is, so that some of you don't start guessing our ages.
That's right. Okay.
But I started my first business at 26. And just like all those other entrepreneurs, I did fail at it. And I went back to work because I was like, this business thing is a tough thing. But post the trainings and the programs that I've been able to be part of, I'm able to rethink of new models of doing things, as opposed to when I was just thinking I'm doing my business as a sole proprietor, where I'm the only person who's employed. Right now, I'm rethinking how can my business reach 10,000 people, 20,000 people eventually, And I believe that spark was sparked through the training and the experiences that I've had. And so if someone is able to access that, I think that is also a great opportunity to do that. But these days there's YouTube, there's a lot of content online that you can literally learn how to be anything and anyone. And equally entrepreneurship, like don't just go in blindly and just do things and suffer for 10 years so that you can learn. Of course you learn on the job, but if you can expose yourself to information and content, the race would be shorter, as opposed to suffering through the process. But most people learn on the job, but I think like there's a lot of information to save you from the dramatic experience that you may possibly face in the future. So training is good.
All right. And a lot of practitioners and scholars have also said that people need to network in whatever field they are in. And a businessman watching right now may be asking, wait, do I have time to network or do I have time to do my business? I'm running around doing everything. How can I network as I do my business?
Okay, so I think even for me, I'm working towards the whole networking thing, because I think a lot of us, you're like, I'm just working on my idea. But they always say, if you're not networking, you're not working. Because one of the most important aspect of your business is actually selling, And I think a lot of times we may forget that you're supposed to sell, especially when you're starting as a sole proprietor. Your business can technically, and let's say it's an online business, you can actually be making yourself really, really happy in your own space and in your own existence. But then you'll realize the more you do that, the less you expose your business to more people, and the less partners you have, and even the less clientele you also have. So networking is very, very vital. And how can you do that? By joining associations, joining clubs, occasionally volunteering in some organizations and being part of things. Because especially when you're starting as an entrepreneur, you're by yourself, literally, right? So you are risking being in an environment where you just socialize with yourself and you're not exposing yourself to more people. So by being part of associations and networks, then you're building your community and making it even larger and exposing yourself to even more opportunities. So it's not something you can run away from, but it takes time. It takes time to learn, but you have to be very deliberate that networking is part of what you do. But of course, social media has really, really helped us. They say Facebook ni nusu ya kuonana, right? So when people see you making noise on Facebook, motivating others, that's also a form of networking. But yeah.
And we really hope much more can come out of that, bringing me to my next question. Something interesting that I came across, it's called crowdfunding, which works in a certain number of countries here and there, where you want to start a business, you don't have capital, and people are here giving you money. I mean, we have seen different cases in the country where, I have a wedding, I have a burial, people come and invest in that with no returns. But is there an opportunity for us to handle the same kind of behavior and give to people, yet, expecting something to come? And can that be a practice in Kenya?
I wish that would be the case, because I feel like being empowered as a business person is one of the best things you can be empowered in. But of course, you're right. In our culture, people will, baby shower, father shower, bridal showers, all those things. People will gather, but rarely actually. In fact, a lot of entrepreneurs that I'm working with will always say that they have the least support, like in terms of in their businesses, from their family and their friends. I mean, even when you post something on Facebook that you're selling, let's say lessons, right? So that would be the only post that might not have anyone engaging, because people are finding that whole thing very awkward, right? But if we made it a culture, someone was talking about why don't we have business showers? Why don't we, if we can have baby showers and bridal showers, why can't we do the same for business? And I think that's a very good point you raised, and a very good culture that we need to start getting into that. Because I know there are societies whereby there's a lot of support. There's a lot of support for local. There's a lot of support for family. If you start something, there are people who support you, and those will be your first clients. I think we need to normalize that. Like Martin, if you're to start a business today, I should be one of the people who buy. Even if your food doesn't taste that wonderful, I should actually keep coming and recommend a few recipes maybe.
Yeah, and maybe tell me how to make my food better in the first place. Right?
Exactly. No, but not to avoid it altogether.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. Now I want you to give us your final thoughts, and as you do that, tell us what you're doing with Dream Tribe Network Africa, and how you're pushing entrepreneurs out there to make Kenya a better place economically.
All right. So my greatest advice that I've been telling people, because every time I go to speak to especially young people, they feel this pressure to leave their jobs and just jump into entrepreneurship. I think there's a phase and there's a lot of pressure. And I know it's good to be very inspired and really, really excited, but there's a place and time for everything. So yes, it may feel like a good idea, but sometimes you can actually do both your job and still pursue your entrepreneurship until when it succeeds at a certain level. So don't get trapped into that whole phase of everyone must quit and do something. Sometimes you can actually innovate in your space of work. However, if you have this great idea that's really, really burning and you really, really must let it out, don't let yourself just be soaked totally, and as you get your salary and you enjoy your pizza, and totally forget that you have this great idea that is sitting inside of you that you can actually explore over the weekends, in the night, or even later, like every day keep planting a seed to whatever your idea is and share. Don't be afraid of giving the world the contribution that you can give. I always say, because I believe God plants ideas in us. So if you don't release it, then you're likely letting, the century go without your contribution, right? And so take the chance and go for it and make sure that you lead it the right direction. Now, I'm also welcoming you to Dream Tribe if you're also an entrepreneur and you want to be part of a community. Dream Tribe is exactly that. So, Martin, I think you should also join Dream Tribe because I feel like you have great ideas.
Definitely. I'm joining
so
after.
We're working towards having. Exactly.
After this conversation, I'm joining right now.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
Be part of the community. We have great stuff lined up. Dream Cafe, which is conversations like this where entrepreneurs get to exchange and share ideas. And of course, a lot more programs with COVID guidelines observed. So we're doing a lot of online activities for now. And so you're welcome anytime. Do not be afraid. The community is growing larger. We are now at over 550,
Amazing.
I think. Yeah.
Wow.
So do join us. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Esther Neema, for joining us tonight with that insightful conversation on entrepreneurship today. It was a pleasure having you tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. Very happy.
All right, there you have it. That is Entrepreneurship today. And we take a short break right here on KUTV Primetime News. When we come back, we have more in store. Don't go anywhere.